Hello everyone, and welcome to all 12 Stardew Valley marriage candidates ranked. In a lot of my past videos, I broke it up between the male marriage candidates and the female marriage candidates, but in today's video, it's just going to be all 12 all together. Today's video is coming to you because I'm really excited for 1.6 to be launching in about 1 week now. First character we're going to talk about today is Alex. And Alex is one of the characters that, his personality does a complete 180. In the beginning of the game, I find a lot of his dialogue really hilarious. He's really arrogant and, he comes off a little bit rude at times. He really thinks that he's going to become a grid ball player professionally, and he always acts like he's a lot stronger than the main character. He's also really judgmental of the other people in the town, not just the main character. And the only person that he seems to really get along with is Haley, who we'll talk about her later, but she kind of has the same arrogant personality. She looks down on other people just like Alex does. However, as you get to know him, his personality slowly starts to change. You can see him start questioning some of his previous held beliefs, and he starts to become a lot nicer to the main character. When I first started playing Stardew Valley, I really had my heart set on Shane, but then slowly as I got to know Alex and see his heart scenes, he really won me over. I love to see his growth from being really arrogant to then being more accepting of himself and others. And I also think a lot of his heart scenes, they're really heartfelt. And I just absolutely love Alex. So, of course, Alex is going in the S tier. He's definitely my top 2, and I won't take anybody saying they don't like him. I think the people who say that they don't like him, they're probably people who didn't really fully see all of his heart scenes and don't really know his whole backstory. He's somebody who's had a bit of a rough past, and it's really nice to see him fully grow into a nice person as the game goes on. Abigail is a character that she has a really unique look, and she has a really unique personality as well. She's kind of a little bit alternative, I guess you could say. She has purple hair, she really likes playing video games, hanging out in graveyards, and she wishes that she could be an adventurer. She's also really good friends with Sebastian and Sam, and they even have a band together. She also has kind of a tense relationship with her father and perhaps her mother as well. Both of them are kind of worried about her because she's not really a typical girl. So, it creates tension between her and her parents. For me, I really like Abigail. She doesn't really have quite as much character progression as some of the other characters in the game, but she's somebody who's actually cool in the beginning, and she's cool in the late game. So for Abigail, I'm going to put her in the A tier. Elliot is a writer who lives in a cabin on the beach. He loves writing and also drinking fine wine and doing things like that. Me personally, I've never really been super interested in Elliot. I do think some of his heart scenes, they're kind of funny, and you have some kind of funny dialogue choices in them. And Elliot, he's another one who I don't think he has a ton of character growth, and just personality-wise, I don't know, I'm just not really a big fan. So I'm going to be putting Elliot in the C tier. For me, he's always just kind of there. I think initially I really didn't like Elliot, but as time has gone on, I think that dislike has just kind of turned to indifference. I don't really dislike him, but I don't really like him either. The fourth character we're going to be talking about is Emily. Now, Emily, she has blue hair, she's very alternative, she loves crystals, gems, talking about people's auras, and weird things like that. I've never really been a fan of Emily. I find all of her heart scenes kind of annoying, if I'm being completely honest. The scene with the bird is okay, but I really hate the scene where it's like there's a bunch of clouds and it's like some fever dream. Like, I hate that heart scene. And then, just her dialogue in general, I'm not really a big fan of Emily, so I have to put her in C tier. The fifth character we're going to be talking about today is Haley. Haley is a character who really cares about fashion, her appearance, and she also likes photography. So I think it's just like, she's really obsessed with superficial things looking beautiful, stuff like that. Now, Haley is another character that I find her dialogue pretty funny. In the beginning of the game, she is really stuck up, and she makes a lot of rude comments to the farmer. And I don't know, me personally, I find it funny. I guess some people, they could be offended, but yeah, I just find Haley really funny in the early game. Later in the game, I'm actually kind of sad that she becomes really nice and she like starts to want to volunteer and be kind to others. And I don't really feel like there's a slow progression from being superficial to being really nice and wanting to volunteer and help other people. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really buy the transition for Haley. I probably would like Haley more if she just stayed kind of like rude and superficial all the way through the game. If she was like that, she probably would be one of my favorite marriage candidates. But as it is, it's like I like her, but yeah, she just becomes a little bit too plain towards the end of the game. So yeah, I have to put her in B tier. I like Haley, but yeah, me personally, I wish she was a little bit different in the late game. The fifth character we're going to be talking about today is Harvey. Now, Harvey, of all the characters, I feel like he is number one, the most boring. If there's a character that I had to be 100% indifferent to, it would be Harvey. He is a doctor, and so a lot of his dialogue is just about being a doctor, how he wants to get more patients, different things to do to be healthy. His only hobbies are also things that I find really boring, like playing around with old radios and also flying, like being a pilot. Yeah, so for me, he's definitely also going to be in C tier. Lee, or Lay, or maybe Leah. Yeah, I'm not really quite sure how to pronounce her name, but I usually just say Lee. So with Lee, she is very earthy, she loves animals, she lives in a little cabin by the river, and yeah, she has a really like pleasant personality. Her dialogue with you will change a little bit depending on whether you are a man or a woman, which I think is an interesting choice, and it kind of makes some of her scenes a little bit more interesting. Which she kind of needs, because I feel like outside of that, her personality isn't really super exciting. I mean, I like her on paper, but I wish she was just a little bit more interesting. And it is kind of funny that when you date her, you're going to get a special sculpture, but yeah, this sculpture is really ugly. I don't know if it's supposed to be really ugly, but yeah, for me, I really don't like it. So yeah, I'm going to be putting Lee in B tier. Again, I like her, but yeah, I don't really love her. The next character that we have is Maru, and Maru is a character that is obsessed with inventing things. She's also really interested in astronomy and things like that. Now, for me personally, yeah, I found Maru's personality also just a tiny bit boring. For me, personally, it's kind of funny because a lot of the other characters in the game, in the beginning, they kind of have issues and then they slowly work through them. Whereas with Maru, like in the beginning, she's also just like a normal kind of friendly person. So for me, that kind of relates to being a little bit on the boring side of things. None of her early dialogue has like an edge to it at all. She's just kind of nice and, you know, wants to get to know the farmer. So I guess maybe some people would like that, but for me, I just always kind of found her a little bit boring. Even her heart scenes, you know, where you get to look at the stars with her and things like that, I don't know, it just never really clicked with me. So for Maru, sadly, I'm also going to have to put her in the C tier. Penny is a teacher, so you'll often find her teaching the two kids in the town. Either she'll be walking them home, or she'll be taking them to the library to teach them different things. You're also going to see her teaching the kids in some of the heart scenes, so yeah. If you really like teachers, then you might like Penny, but yeah, I kind of wish she had at least another hobby or something that made her a little bit more interesting. I do really respect people who marry Penny, though, because, yeah, she has a rough family life. So I feel like of all the characters, like, she's kind of the one who needs to be saved the most. For her, I think moving to the farm is the biggest upgrade out of any of the marriage candidates. But that being said, me personally, I find her a little bit too boring. So, yeah, I'm going to have to put her in C tier. Now, Sam, he looks like a Super Saiyan with his hair. I think his character design, it probably was at least a little bit inspired by Dragon Ball Z. So I think his look is pretty cool. I give him a thumbs up for his appearance. In terms of his personality, though, he's really immature. I think of all 12 of the marriage candidates, he is the one that strikes me as like the youngest and the most immature. Some of his heart scenes are kind of funny, and I do enjoy his personality and some of the kind of funny things that he says. But as a whole, I don't really like the idea of marrying him and, you know, deciding to run the farm with him. So for him, I'm going to put him in B tier. I like Sam, but yeah, he wouldn't be one of my top choices for marriage. Now, Sebastian, he's kind of like the emo boy of the marriage candidates. He starts off really introverted and also a little bit jaded to the entire world. As you get to know him, he's slowly going to warm up to you, and you're going to get to learn more about him and his past and his interests. Now, I do think some things about him are kind of cool. I like that he really likes frogs, and I like that you can get a pet frog if you marry him. But yeah, other than that, just in general, his personality, he's a little bit too subdued. I think Sebastian is fine, but he is really introverted, and I'm also really introverted, so I would like to have somebody who's at least a little bit more talkative. Just, you know, if I'm going to date them and get married with them and run a farm with them. So for me, I like Sebastian, but yeah, I don't think he'd be the perfect match for me personally. So I'm going to be putting him in B tier. I like him, but yeah, he's not for me. Now, Shane, as I said earlier in the video, he was one of the characters that I was the most excited to meet. I think he has a really interesting character design and a really interesting backstory. From the very beginning, I was like, yeah, I'm a fan of Shane. Then, after seeing his heart scenes, I guess I would have to say I'm just the slightest bit disappointed. Shane, he kind of goes through his whole arc outside of you, and you're just kind of there to witness him go through his struggles, and you're kind of a little bit of a support. But yeah, I didn't really feel like there was a real strong like romantic connection between the main character and Shane, which is part of the reason why at my first playthrough I ended up marrying Alex instead of Shane. Because I feel like the scenes between Alex and the main character, I really felt like this closeness between them. But with Shane, it was just slightly below that. That being said, I do think that Shane has a really interesting look, really interesting personality, and I do like his character. He is also another one, though, that I really like his personality in the beginning, because I think he has a bit of an edge, but then as the game goes on, they kind of like, you know, smooth out the edges a little bit too much. So yeah, I really like Shane, really interesting character. I still have to put him in S tier, even though I did say, you know, I wasn't so happy with how certain things went, but still, at the end of the day, he's my number 2. Did you strongly agree or disagree with anything I said in today's video? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.